What does it look like to experience Cisco Live through the lens of someone who knows every corner of a technology booth, both inside and out? Well, today I had the chance to find out, thanks to Renee Lang from a company called Panduit. And I think she might just have a second career waiting as a creative director after today. Because from high-density power solutions to fault-managed systems and fibre infrastructure for AI networks, Renee personally took the time to walk me through every detail of Panduit's offerings, all on a busy show floor. But it wasn't just the tech, it was the customer use cases, the real-world challenges being solved, and some of the insightful conversations happening booth-side that truly stood out. So in a world where businesses are rethinking cloud strategies, doubling down on sustainability, and preparing for the impact of AI on power and infrastructure, Panduit is delivering solutions that are ready now and scalable for what's next. So how do you future-proof your data center in the face of rising demands? Well, buckle up and hold on tight, because I'm going to beam your ears directly to the show floor at Cisco Live. Thank you for joining me on the podcast today. For everybody that can't attend Cisco Live, can you tell me a little about who you are, what you do?
Yeah, my name is Renee Lang, and we are at the Cisco Live, and we're at the Panduit booth. Panduit, we are a global leader in the network and electrical space. We've been around for 70 years, so 7 decades. And our big focus is really about listening to our customers and how our products make it easier for them to do their job every day. And that could be fewer complexities or greater safety, which is what you're going to look at today in the booth.
Awesome. Now, you've been on this booth all morning, right? And you must be bombarded with questions. I'm curious, are people asking the same questions? Are there any trends in the kind of questions?
You know, AI is the big trend here, as you may know, and it's all about how do you make the transformation from not being in that AI space to preparing for the AI revolution. So that goes from the speed of your fiber coming into the data center all the way to your power that has to be able to support and back up those critical infrastructures. So it really is all about how do your products prepare us for the AI revolution.
And it's interesting you say that, because there's so much hype around AI, and there has been for several years now. But the conversations people are having, people are still preparing and just on that journey.
They are. They really are. It's an investment. It really is. We have a booth here right in front of us, two racks where you show the transition from just a general network rack over to a high-powered, high-density rack. It's a transition, and I think it's something that's going to take a couple years, right? You've got those people that are like, this is where we are. AI is that revolution. I'm going to own it, and I'm going to move forward. But then you have other industries and other customer types that have to kind of ease into it, right? You need a budget to make this. So how can they prepare for it doing baby steps? And that's really how Panduit helps. You know, we are preparing them with solutions that they can implement today that are going to be available to take them through decades of use.
And would you say there's also, with AI, there's a bit of an interest in bringing networking back into an organization away from the cloud?
Yes, man, so it is, for many years it was, how do we get off like on-prem and get into the cloud? But, again, time, money, security, there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So how do we own it again? How do you bring it back on premise? And that's really all about having high density. That's really what it's all about. High density when it comes to the outlets, and also greater amperage. Again, it's all about scaling, right? Longer terms. So put stuff in there now that can help you grow later on. So Neil, as you heard me say, high density is very important when we're going from the cloud to on-prem and being ready for that AI revolution. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand it over to Mason Khan, and he's going to talk about our EL2P and our other high density power distribution units.
So it's really critical for customers in AI to have a very dense space-saving solution, particularly as they are using high-powered servers. So the EL2P delivers on that promise. It's very slim. It has innovative combo outlets that deliver high power in a small, compact space. We've added additional features that are really critical for the AI journey, such as cybersecurity. Yeah. These are some of the most advanced cybersecurity compliance per IEC 62443. And we also have the USG v6 compliance to make sure the customer have peace of mind when they are deploying the AI workloads on-prem or off-prem.
What kind of questions are you getting around this at the moment? Because I think there's a lot of people or enterprises preparing for this journey. Are you getting, what kind of questions are you getting?
Most of the questions, quite frankly, are around the power demands of the AI servers. So the question is, can you deliver more power? And the answer is yes. This one, for example, here can do up to 60 amps. We also have versions in the future that can go all the way to 125 amps. And that's just one part of the story. Other part is how efficiently can you deliver that power, right? How intuitive it is to use. So we also have some innovative features around the use cases for those as well. I think one of the things we are seeing is that with the high power requirements, the size of the cables gets much bigger.
Right. How much bigger?
In terms of like, you're talking about the 4-gauge cable or, a 6-gauge cable, those are pretty bigger size cables. And we have to worry about the wide bending radius inside the racks and the cabinets. And we have given it an innovative feature where we introduce a swivel feature for the input power. So it's much easier to install. That is really handy, especially as we march into the high power solutions.
Tell me about this other feature we've got here.
We wanted to make sure that our customers don't spend too much time removing the controllers and mounting it in the correct orientation. We added an accelerometer in there. So now it automatically adjusts to the correct orientation. Saves a lot of time during install, right? You don't have to unscrew 2 screws and remount it. So I think that's going to be really helpful, saving time for the guys in the field installing these devices.
I was going to say, I would imagine that the guys in the field, that's a feature that they're going to love, that a lot of people don't know about it. But when you're in the field and you come across problems like that, yeah.
And also, you can actually have 0-point provisions that you can push out the firmware with just a single press of the touch screen.
Oh, okay.
Which is a massive improvement over the previous designs. You can do it in a matter of seconds, not minutes.
Awesome. So we've just talked about the importance of power and those power demands.
We should take a look at our fault managed power systems. So, sustainability is a really big deal when it comes into on-prem applications. So we're going to hand it on over to Vince, and he's going to talk to you a bit more about our fault managed power system. It's a class 4 system, and it's unlike anything you've seen before.
Hi, Vince. Thanks for talking to me today. Obviously, we're talking about the huge power demands of AI and the sustainability questions that it might raise. Tell me more about that from what you're seeing.
Yeah, so as AI continues to grow, you're seeing this need for more and more power. You're sitting at 100, you're going to be over 1,000. So it's a 10x usage in the power in the future. As that grows, we're going to need more sustainable systems to do that. Fault managed power is one of those systems that eventually will be there. Today it's not there yet, but that's where the future is going to. And it's going to draw us in the ability to transmit significant power long distance safely and efficiently. And when I'm talking about significant power, 600 watts per copper bearer over 2 kilometers. Now safely because it meets all the UL standards that ensures if anywhere we were to touch the cable or to cross lines, it faults out instantly. So it's a lot safer than anything that's out there being deployed today in the market. And that's where we're going to see in the future where fault managed power comes into the AI world, into the data centers, as we get to those levels of higher power needs.
And I would say those power demands are something that we don't talk about enough. And as people with a more of a solutions, not problems mindset, proactive rather than reactive, tell me about the solution that you're showcasing on the booth here.
So what we're showing here today is our fault managed power system. This is our first generation system here. What we do is we take in AC power and convert it to DC power. Our system then sends out a pulse current, which if we were able to show everybody the screen here, we can see there's a pulse current up there. It's a 2 milliseconds on, 1 millisecond off. And that's where we're constantly checking for faults. You think about your GFCI in your home.
Yeah.
You're talking about one type of fault. The new arc fault ones they're putting in a lot of homes, that does 3. In order to meet UL 1400-1, we have to meet 7 different faults. There's 2 shock and 5 fire hazards. The biggest concern with any electrical install is shock and fire. So being able to prevent those instantly, making it much more safer and efficient is a part of our overall solution. The other side of that is, with the design of this, we're running that power over that 2 kilometers using 16 pair twisted cable. If you think about traditional AC, you're talking 12 gauge, 10 gauge, much thicker, much heavier, has to be running conduit for AC. With this system, based on the design and being UL listed, you can run this class 4 cable in the same pathway as your fiber and your Ethernet cables.
Wow.
Now I don't have to have a separate AC line, a separate conduit line, junction, breaker boxes, panels, all those extra devices. I eliminate all that, and I run that in the same route as my fiber. I bring that to my end device. I then take my power, I convert that back to 48 or 56 volt DC output, and I power my end devices. Whether that's going to be in an industrial application, in an enclosure, we're using different types of switches to power the devices, HMI interfaces, or we're in an outdoor application where I'm powering a Cisco switch that's now powering a camera on top of a pole that I could never reach before in the past. Or even classrooms. We saw some things over here on the side where we're actually deploying it, powering PoE within the classroom, allowing us to do the lighting, the desktop controls, the USBs in the desk. Everybody's got cell phones. They want to have a place to plug their phone in.
Yeah.
We're now able to power all those things. But the great thing is we can do it anywhere. We don't have to be limited by our current designs. We can now place this anywhere we want and deliver power, significant power, at any point in time.
And I would imagine as people visit the booth, especially field network engineers, when they see this stuff and they see it, what kind of reaction? It must set off a few light bulb moments. What kind of questions are they asking?
Yeah. Yes. So good question. I mean, actually had a few guys come through earlier. They've heard of fault managed power. They know the basic concept. And when they come through the booth, they actually physically get to see the product, number one. And then when we walked around our booth and we looked at all the different applications, I saw the light bulbs going on.
Yeah.
And the questions started coming, oh, wait a minute. Coming out of your receiver, it's got 3 outputs, but you're going into a terminal block there. Does that mean I can hook up multiple devices? Yes, it does. You're not limited to just 3 devices. It just kind of clicked for him. And he goes, I could see this being used in this application. We got a customer that needs X. And they started talking about it. We took them on the other side. They started taking pictures of our outdoor enclosures because they're like, oh my gosh, this solves a problem where we can't get our access controls and the cameras and the dead spots. So yes, we're seeing the lights go on as they walk through.
It must be really interesting because obviously you create a solution with a certain use case in mind. But when people come and see it from various industries, they're going to have very different use cases and different things that they see that maybe you've not even
Correct.
thought.
So when we first launched this back in 2023, we were the first in the industry to have a UL certified system, class 4 system. We could have launched it earlier, but we held off because we want to make sure it was certified that what we're delivering to you is safe. That it's backed by an industry standard. We've done the testing and shown that. And most of the thought there was DAS, distributed antenna systems. But since we launched it, I got to be honest, 90 to 95% of what we coded is outside the DAS world. It's in everything else. And every time we go out, we meet with people, we see a different use case. I was at a couple of universities and the power poles that are in the middle of the campuses, trying to get power out there and all the other things they need to run those is challenging. There's no power in the middle of the campus quads. So now being able to run the fiber and pull our cable with it, they're able to power those power poles, those safety securities. So if somebody walks up, they put their phone on there, it charges it automatically. They get an intercom with the safety security of the college. But again, they can now do that easily by using fault managed power to power those devices. So it has been totally different applications than what we originally thought. And it just continues to grow.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to show me some of this now. We're going to keep moving on and look at some of the other solutions that we've seen here, but thank you.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate your time.
Thanks, Neil. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to talk about how going from the cloud, right, back onto on-prem and preparing for the AI revolution really needs to be something you're thinking about in advance. And that starts with the fiber. You really have to make sure that you're laying fiber now so you're prepared to grow in the future. And Mike's going to take us and walk us through our fiber solutions.
So first of all, just looking at this cabinet here, some of the nicest, tidiest cabling I've seen. Kudos to whoever did this. But tell me about what's in front of us here.
So what we're showing here is a solution that this would be our leaf rack. So normally you're going to have a pod of 9 to 10 cabinets, which is going to have all your GPUs in there. And then all of the connectivity from those GPU cabinets are going to end up in a cabinet like this, maintained it very nicely with probably 8 different switches to be able to maintain all of the multi-mode fiber that's coming in. This is going to be all your ingress from all of your GPU cabinets. And then you're going to have your single mode that's going to be going out to your network spines for your uplinks. Then you're also going to have your standard switch, or excuse me, your standard storage uplinks as well. Are going to end up in here as well. So this cabinet's going to get everything back from here all the way back to your standard network backbones.
And what kind of spec are we talking about on everything we're looking at here?
So right now, all our multi-mode is angle polish. So traditionally, multi-mode is UPC polish. Now with the reflectivity and bandwidth needs of some of these AI applications, all of the multi-mode we're seeing is going to be angle polished, which is going to be very similar to single mode applications in this, just to get better reflection and better performance in the network.
And I suspect that when anyone sees this, the first thing they're going to do is compliment on the cabling like I have. But what other kind of questions are you getting around this technology?
I was like, why would you do it this way? Why would you put all this stuff in this one cabinet? All the power for it is going to be dual home. You're going to have all that power. You're going to have all the connectivity. So why would you not have all of your network infrastructure in one place to be able to easily manage, easily patch, moves that change and stuff like that?
And is there a lot of interest in this now? Obviously, for a long time, there's been this migration to the cloud. Now it's coming full circle. We're coming back on-prem. Are you noticing big changes there, and especially with AI driving this?
For sure. We have a lot of contractors that are coming us. How NVIDIA and some of the other application providers are doing it is everything is home run from the server cabinet to the network cabinet. And the problem is if you have a cabinet that might be 30 feet down from the other one, if they don't have the exact length, you're going to have additional cable management concerns. If somebody needs to pull a connection, they're going to have to go pull that one connection all the way back through to the server cabinet, where we're suggesting to use structured cabling to get around that. It doesn't add any additional link loss to your connection, and it's going to be for an easier cable management. You actually have the same amount of cable length in the solution as well.
And what would you say makes Panduit's approach different from other solutions?
Structured cabling is what we do, so we're very good at it.
Yeah.
So a lot of our customers that will come to us is seeing that we have cable management options, seeing we have multiple options for fiber, and using us as a trusted provider to be able to get their cables from point A to point B. Anybody can pull a cable from here to there, but it's to have it do so it's going to give you the best performance, the best cable managed, the best move that changes on the back end. That's what everybody loves.
And what's exciting you about being at Cisco Live and you're on this booth, you've been surrounded by so many different people, different use cases, different questions. What are you enjoying most about your time here?
So being a solutions architect, a lot of people that come to the booth are coming with problems. Yeah. Can you please help me with this problem, whether it be power, fiber, cooling, having connectivity in the cabinet? What would you do in this scenario? So a lot of times I'll get these questions via email, but it's nice to get face-to-face interaction, talk these people through their problems, help them, and have them smile, walk away saying, okay, now when I go home, I'll have the ability to do this on my own.
Well, you're in a great location here on the show floor. So many people. I'm sure there's going to be people pushing me out of the way to ask you even more questions. So just thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Renee, bring us home.
Thanks, Neil. So today we talked a lot about AI, right? And we talked about how we moved from on-prem to the cloud, and now we're coming back. And we talked to you about our high density power solutions, our PDU power solutions. We spoke about our fault managed power system, which is a class 4 safety power system for DC solutions. So we also talked about our fiber solutions today and how it's really important to make sure that you are setting yourself up for that AI revolution now and preparing for tomorrow.
And not only have you shown me so many amazing solutions today, I think what brought it to life was the customer stories, the people that are coming to your booth, the questions that they're asking, the new use cases that they're raising. So just a big thank you for helping me bring this story to life today.
Well, you're very welcome, and we really appreciate you stopping by and taking a look at all of our solutions. And if anyone has any further questions or you have any questions, just make your way over to panduit.com.
After walking the booth with Renee Lang today, it's impossible not to feel energised by the innovation on display. And from power demands driven by AI workloads to new models for on-prem infrastructure, I think Renee showed how real-world thinking meets forward-looking design. And in every conversation that I enjoyed there, it was clear that Panduit isn't just providing components, they're actually helping IT leaders reimagine what's possible. Whether that be smart cabling, fault-managed power, or advanced fibre solutions. So again, huge thank you to Renee for taking the time to guide me through it all and making sure I didn't miss a thing. Could she be my new creative director? Well, I think we've got a strong candidate there. But over to you. What ideas will you take away from the show floor into your next big infrastructure move? Email me as always, techblogwriter@outlook.com, LinkedIn, X, Instagram, just at Neil C. Hughes. Please let me know. But that's it for today. So thank you for listening as always, and I'll speak with you again soon. Bye for now.